Here, Naftali, did you get that email? The book? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. We're holding on the Mishnah on the bottom of Tzadik Amud Aleph, 90a. Okay, we thank Hashem that Tzadik Amud Aleph, that the Mishnah. Is that what you have to? So we thank Hashem that you're able to learn Torah every day, and in the schus of our learning, we should have the basic English immediately. Also learning in the memory of the Hava Golda Bas Baruch Binyamin, and also for Refuah Shleima, my father. Okay. Okay, thank you. Mishnah says like this. Mishnah says, someone either hits his friend or hits him on his ear, or he blows into his ear. There's two translations in Rashi. Nice and leisela, he blows probably means like he blows a shofar in his ear. Yeah, nice and leisela, he has to pay a sela, he has to pay this coin of a sela, which is, there's two types of sela, but here we're talking about the lower one, which is a half a zuz. Yeah. Okay, they're using one in translation. That commentary will give you one translation on the inside, and then in the comments on the side they'll give you another one. They won't. They don't translate every option in the thing. So he has to pay a seller. Now that seller is for embarrassment. Rabbi Yehuda Imer, Rabbi Mishum, Rabbi Yisrael Glili Mana. Rabbi Yehuda says no, it's much more than a seller. It's a mana. It's a mana is going to be, according to the way the Gemara is going to explain, 12 and a half. How many times more than that? Is that then maybe 25 times more? Okay. Suchray, if he slaps him, Leisnei Masayim says he has to give him 200 zuz. That's very embarrassing to get a slap. Lachiyadai, he gives him a slap, a backhanded slap. That's even worse. That's Arba Meir says. Someone told me he was in Europe. He said if you came home from Shiva and the Rebbe slapped you, so there would be like finger marks on the cheek. See, like finger marks. So you'd get home, your mother would say, "Why did the Rebbe slap you?" It would go like back and forth like that. And then like 6 months later, the mother would be walking on the street and say, "How's my son doing?" He's doing well, but you should know, 6 months ago I had to hit him once. So that night, why did okay. So Sarim Ba'aznai, this is either he pulled his ear or he cut his ear. Talash Bisara, he pulled at his hair, pulled it out. Rakak Vigia by Raika, he spat at him and the spit hit him. Went on him. The Gemara is going to make the difference between his clothing and him. Hever Talisim Imeno, if he took his clothing off him. He uncovered a woman's hair. Women go with head coverings, and he uncovered the hair in the marketplace. Nation law, Arba Meir says he has to pay that high price of 400 zuz for the embarrassment. This is the rule of Kolofi Kvaidai. It goes according to a person's honor. That means a wealthy person is going to be more embarrassed. A poor person is not going to be so embarrassed. He doesn't have the same prestige. Now, the Gemara is going to discuss if by saying that, if they mean to lessen from the 400 or if they mean to make it more than the 400. Amar Rabbi Akiva. Akiva says, Afilu aniyim sheb Yisrael, even the poorest of Israel, Rayin Isikila and Bnei Karin. Good morning. Okay. Just 1 second, let me mute. So Rayin Isai, We're on page 90b, right on top. Rabbi Akiva says that even the poorest of Israel, we view them as if they were wealthy, but they just lost their money, which means that you have to give them the highest price of embarrassment. There's a story about a woman that a man that uncovered a woman's hair in the marketplace, pulled off her shaitel. So he has to pay her for the embarrassment, right? Basal lefnei Rabbi Akiva v'chayve litna arba mea zuz. So she came in front of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva says you have to pay the 400 zuz. That's the price for the embarrassment of such a thing. Amalei Rabbi ten lisman. So he says, Rabbi tells to Rabbi Akiva, give me some time. So okay. V'nasan lisman. So he gave him some time. The Gemara is going to discuss to you. We really give people time for these things. Shamra imedas al pesach hatzera. So he sees that she's waiting at the she's waiting at the entrance to her courtyard. B'shavar sakad b'fnei. He had a jug of oil. He broke it in front of her. He threw it on the floor. Ubayki eser shemen. In this jug, in the shards that was left, was a little bit of oil, the amount that would cost an iser. In those days, they used to put on oil into their hair. That's why in the old train seats, it used to be like this paper towel that hung over the back.
Yeah.
That's for the greasy hair. Yeah. Someone came to our house once. He told us that it was called makasa, the grease that would put in the hair. And that little paper towel that used to hang over on it's called the anti-makasa. Someone told us. I don't know. I never saw it in use, but anyway, it's cute. So she takes the oil. Gilses Reisha, Vaisamit Pachas, Umanachas Yad al Reisha. Gilses Reisha, Vaisamit Pachas. What does it mean, mitpachas? She was Gilses Reisha. Menachas Yad al Reisha. Let me take a look at the. So the woman then exposed her own head, and she was wetting her hand in the oil. Mitpachas. She was wetting her hand in the oil. Let me see what it says over here. Some explain based on the text before the rif, which does not include the phrase placing her hand on her head, that the jug of oil belonged to the woman and she was banging on her head, lamenting her loss of oil. According to this explanation, the word mitpachas is an expression of hitting her head in grief, not an expression of wetting. Okay, there's different interpretations of what that means. Anyway, whatever the case is, she uncovered her own head, and so she was putting the oil on her head. So Hamad Edim gets witnesses to see this. Rabbi Akiva comes to Rabbi Akiva. He says to Rabbi Akiva, to this woman that uncovers her own head, I have to pay 400 zuz because I uncovered her head. He's saying that this is like a woman that goes around without a head covering. Now, because I uncovered her head, I have to pay 400 zuz. Akiva says, you're not saying anything. You don't have any claim in Yiddish. The zak's garnished. You're not saying you have no substance in your claim. Why? He says, Akiva says, if someone damages himself, being you're not allowed to damage, a person's not allowed to damage himself. There's exceptions to that, but in general, a person not allowed to damage himself, then he's pater. But others that damage him have to pay. So just because she uncovers her head doesn't mean that you're allowed to. Certain terms that people call themselves, different names, nicknames. They think if you do it, you get big trouble. They can say it, you can't say it. Yeah, okay. If someone cuts his own plants, he's not allowed to cut down fruit trees. But he's going to be pater. Achirim chayav. We'll see in the Gemara exactly the details. But if other people cut them down, they have to pay for it. Okay, that's the idea over here. Rabbi Akiva is telling him just because she does it, that doesn't mean that you're allowed to, and you have to pay. Okay,
excuse me. So the case is that the woman, he accidentally broke a jug, and the woman apparently took off her hair and maybe rubbed it in the oil that was in the jug.
Yeah, he didn't accidentally break it. He probably broke it on purpose.
Oh,
He wanted to give her some oil. That's why he asked for some time, and she actually took the oil and put it in her hair. So yeah.
Why did he break it on purpose?
I think he wanted to I think it was a setup for her to get to take a little bit of the oil. People, that was the common thing. They would put the oil. There's a Mishnah somewhere that the remaining oil you put it in the hair of the shamish of the guy, the waiter that's coming around serving. Huh? Mugmar was the smoke that they would take the mugmar and put it on his head. Oh, really? Oh, it could be there was oil. It's a Gemara brachas or something. Yeah. Yeah. That was common for them to do that. Okay.
Just a little bit of oil would make it.
No. He had to pay 400 zuz because he uncovered her hair, and that's an embarrassment. So he has to pay for embarrassment. Now she went and uncovered her hair on her own. So
was the oil like repaying her?
No, the oil wasn't repaying her. The oil was a trick to get her to uncover her hair on her own. And then he goes to Rabbi Akiva and says, why do I have to pay if I uncover her hair? She herself uncovers her hair. So Rabbi Akiva says she's allowed to uncover, not she's allowed to, but if she does, she's exempt. But if you do, you're chayav. There's a double standard.
If this is a known thief, I steal from him, I'm still liable for theft.
You're liable
he's a
for
thief.
theft.
You're
liable for theft. You don't have to pay the double payment.
Yeah,
no.
it's a stolen item.
Okay. Yeah, the Rebbe wanted the women to wear shaitels, and there's several reasons for that. Not the tichels, but one of the reasons is that when it gets hot, so a woman will take off her tichel and put it in her purse. It's hot. It's easier to take off. A woman, you don't take off a shaitel. But the tichel, it's just like whatever, you just put it in there. No, you can't take off the shaitel because you have to redo the hair or whatever. Can't do that. Shaitel they don't take off. Okay, that's one of the reasons, but there's other reasons also. They asked the question: Manatsuri Tanan and Mana Medina Tanan. Manatsuri. What type? When it said that they have to pay a mana for, what was it, hitting him on his ear? Yeah, is that talking about a manatsuri, which is a very expensive, 100 zuz, a mana Medina, or it's less than that? It's 1/8 of that, which would be an eighth of 100 zuz, would be 12 and a half. So well, Tashima, right? Is that an eighth? 12 and a half, I think, right? Tashima, come and listen. There was a person that hit his friend, right? Asal Kami the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi comes around to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is a grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. He's a grandson. Amalei, right? Amalei, ha Rabbi Yossi Aglili. There's me and there's Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Havla manatsuri, give her a manatsuri. Shmamina manatsuri tanan shmamina. We see from that story that when it says Rabbi manatsuri, he told him a manatsuri, which is Rabbi Yossi Aglili's opinion. Now Rabbi Yossi Aglili only said a mana. But now we know that it wasn't really a mana. It wasn't a mana Medina. It was the higher one. It was a mana Tsuri. It's a more expensive one. He was a second generation Amayra, right? Okay. What did Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya mean when he said there's me and then there's Rabbi Yossi Aglili that between the two of us, you have to pay a manatsuri. What did he mean by that? So it says like this. Maybe what it means is, first of all, there's me, I saw you. Maybe it means like he was a witness to the person hitting. And then there's Rabbi Yaglila that says how much you have to pay. So between me being a witness and Rabbi Yaglili, which says the amount, which says the judgment. So together, you have to pay a manatsuri. The Gemara says, one second, this is not so acceptable because we've said in other places that you can't have a witness being a judge. And he's the witness, and he's saying that because I saw it, now you have to pay. But Tanya, we have a brisa. It says Sanhedrin sharo echad shaharagas nefesh. Let's say the Sanhedrin saw someone kill someone. So they split the Sanhedrin up. Some of them become witnesses, some of them become the judges. And the witnesses testify in front of the judges. Rabbi Akiva says no. Since they all witnessed it, they can't be judges. They can't even act as judges because they witnessed it. A judge cannot be a witness. The witness cannot be the judge, but the judge can't be the witness, either one. If they saw it, they can't be, they're already biased. And they can't judge, even though that's like the bias, that's like, oh my gosh, but it's the truth. Nevertheless, it's not how judgment works. And even Reb Tarfon only said that some of them become Eidim, some of them become Dayanim. But that the witness himself should be the judge, that he doesn't say. If Reb Tarfon allows the witness to be a judge, but he doesn't allow him to act as the witness and the judge. He can't do both. If the witness is going to be the judge, then forget being a witness. Okay, now listen to the witnesses. But over here, he's the witness and the judge. That no one says. So the Gemara answers, that's talking about because they had to do it in a way of judgment, which means they saw at night. Night, you're not allowed to do judgment. So then they had to sit down by day. Sitting down by day, then they had to redo the whole thing, and they needed to have some of them become witnesses to Gazan, some of them become judges. But if they would have seen it by day, then they would have been able to make a verdict right then. So, okay. If you want, we could explain what Rabbi Yedin said slightly different. Hachi Karmali, this is what he said. No, this is really Rabbi Yossi Aglili. This is me, I hold of Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Dama Manatsuri. Sadi, the Masadi Bach, and then there's also witnesses. See, all of this was an assumption that we were saying that he was considering himself the witness, but he never said that. Really, he said there's me and Rabbi Yossi Aglili. What he meant to say is there's me that holds like Rabbi Yossi Aglili, and then there's the witnesses that we didn't talk about, but there are witnesses there. And Zil Havli Manatsuri, because of that, go pay him Manatsuri. Now the Gemara says, what just happened over there? You quoted a brisa that says that Rabbi Akiva holds that a witness can't be a judge. 1 second. But we have a brisa that says, if a man hits his friend, this is talking about damages. If a man hits his friend with a rock or with his fist, Shimon Atimani says, just like the fist, the person is brought to court, and in court they're able to look at the fist and see, is that the type of fist that could cause damage? So what this is symbolizing is that whenever there's any utensil that's used in a crime, you have to bring that to court. This is coming to exclude that if the utensil was lost and it wasn't brought to court, then we can't estimate if this utensil would have been something that would have been able to cause damage or not. That then they would have to be able to check it out somehow. They'd have to bring the pieces or something. Well, according to Shimon Atimani, Amalei Rabbi Akiva says, how do you know how many times he hit him? The Besdin was there that knows how many Maiko and what he hit him. If he hit him on his thigh, or if he hit him on Tzipar is the I think it's the sternum, like the bone right here by the chest. According to Shimon Atimani, the Bezdin is basically supposed to witness everything. Let's say someone pushed his friend off a roof from on top of a house, and the person died. Bezdin Bezdin. They have to bring the house to the Bezdin, or the Bezdin goes to the house. Let's say the house collapsed. They have to rebuild it to check it out. The egref is just something that the fist is something that the witnesses could see. Also, anything that the witnesses could see. This is coming to exclude if the witnesses never saw it, the stone that was used. Okay. Yeah, just give me 1 second. Let me get to the point. Katani Mias, whatever the case is, we have it was taught. Amalei Rabbi Akiva b'fnei bestin hiko kami hiko or hiko b'fneim eid nasadayin hiko b'fneim eid nasadayin. He said, was this murder or not murder? Was this hitting, assault done in front of Bezdin, that the Bezdin's able to see all those details? It sounds like that if the Bezdin would have seen it, then it would have been good. That means that the Bezdin could have been witnesses and they still could have been judges. Why did you tell me before? Rabbi Kiva holds that they can't be judges if they would have witnessed it. See, it's a diuk. Because he says, was the Bezdin there that they're seeing it, right? So that means that if they would have been there, it would have been acceptable. So the Gemara answers, no, the Shimon Atimani Kamar. It's only saying, he's only talking to Shimon Atimani, but he doesn't mean that that's really what's happening. He's just attacking Shimon Atimani. Says this sometimes, but he doesn't hold of it. So in other words, when it comes to like a debate, you can't really prove anything from a debate. Really, some of those the counter arguments are not what you really hold. It's just you're trying to prove the other person wrong. Yeah. Yeah.
The case that they don't find the weapon, they don't try the case.
According to Shimon Atimani, they can't try the case. According to Rabbi Kiva, if the witnesses didn't see the weapon, they can't try the case. The witnesses have to have seen the weapon. You don't have to have it right here. You just have to have seen it. Okay. Let's say there was a tamax, a tam. Now this special halachas with the tam. First of all, he pays half damages. You know that, right? But another halacha which is relevant here is that when a tam pays, the owner of the tam pays, he pays migufay, pays from the animal itself. He doesn't pay min aliyah from the best of his properties. That's the halacha by a muad. An animal that gored 3 times, he has to pay min aliyah. But by a tam, he has to pay from the animal itself. So what happens now, the short tam shehemis v'hizik. If there was a tam that killed and it caused damage, afterwards it caused damage. So the issue of kamle b'dirabine, that doesn't apply over here. That has to do with the person getting killed and payment. Over here, it's 2 separate incidents. The ox killed someone. What's the halacha there? We killed the ox. Then it causes damage. But before we got a chance to kill the ox, it caused damage. Well, done in Din Nefashis. We're going to have to do the case of the Din Nefashis first, that we're going to have to kill the ox. And then we won't be able to do the payment because the ox is gone. And the ox pays migufay. There is no goof. We killed it. Okay. No, that's not how they kill it. That would have been a good option. But I think they stone it. Yeah, that would have been an option. I hear. Muad shehe. What is it? Maybe, yeah, if there would have been value left in it. Oh, no, it's Shkola Sharniska. He can't have any benefit from it. No benefit. Sorry? No, he doesn't have to pay from his own wallet because the rule of the tam is you only pay from the damaging animal. But let's say it would have been a muad, then the case is different. Like Shalom saying, muad shehemis v'hizik. If a muad would kill and cause damage, they would do both. They would do the mamanas and they would do the nefashas. Why? Because you could pay migufay. Why did they switch the order? I don't know. Not migufa, min aliyah. The owner, min aliyah. Yeah, I don't know why it says they switched the order. Kadmu, it's gonna say it now. Kadmu v'da no din in nefashos, ein chaysim v'da no din in mamanos. If they did the din nefashos first, then you can't go do the din in mamanos. Like Gemara asks, v'chi kadmu v'da no din nefashos, my hobby. So what? V'hadav v'da din in mamanos. What's the problem? What's the problem? If just because he killed the ox, the owner's still there, and the owner has to pay. The owner pays not from the ox, the owner pays from his pocket, or from his property. Amarava, Rava says, Ashkachtinu l'Rabbanan de Beirav diasir v'kamri hamani. I found the students of Rav, actually, not the students of Rav. I would assume that it's the students of the yeshiva. The Beirav over here means the yeshiva. The Asir v'kamri, that they were saying, Hamani, who is this? Rav Shimon Atimani, the Amar, this is Shimon Atimani. This is my Graf Miuchad Shemasalei Deleidim. Alma bin Numdana the Beidina. We have to bring the ox to the court. And if the ox is killed already, then we can't do it. Just like Shimon Atimani said, just like the fist which is brought to the court, because you have to bring the perpetrator to the court. So you bring it comes along with his fist, right? So too over here, you would have to bring the ox. But Akivan the Gamardina Liktala, Lemashin Leilum, the Bedina, Ledine. Problem is that once they set out a verdict that they have to kill him, then they don't delay the judgment and they kill him right away. They kill the ox right away. And if that's the case, then they were not able to estimate if this ox had the strength to be able to gore and cause damage, which means that we're seeing from this that Shimon Atimani would hold that they would have to do this estimation. I think Rabbi Akiva, yeah. Okay. This is Rava talking. Rava said, I told him that that's not the pshat. Afilu Tamer Rabbi Akiva. You can really say that this is also Rabbi Akiva. So why is there a difference between if they did the dini nefashos first or the dini mamanos first? The answer is we're talking about where the owner ran away. So if they did the dini nefashos first, they killed the ox and the owner runs away, then they're not going to be able to do a judgment on the damage, and then he should pay because the owner's not there. The owner of the ox.
Why does the Gemara have to tell us that the owner's not there? We all know that. Don't find him on the moon.
Right. I don't know. We have to also add in one major point that he doesn't have any money either.
That's also,
no, but they can't judge him. They can't, even if he does have money right now. Even if he does have money, they can't take that payment from him because he's not there. The judgment has to be done in front of him.
Why does now you need to tell us in this specific case?
Yeah.
It's a general rule.
Right. The Gemara says, Yibarach, if the owner ran away, oh, the Gemara says like this. It's basically Chaim's question. The Gemara says like this. Why did you tell me that if you did Dinei Mamanas, then you could do the Dinei Nefashos? If you do the Dinei Mamanas first, then you can do the Dinei Nefashos. But if you do the Dinei Nefashos first, then you can't do the Dinei Mamanas. And the explanation for that is because the owner ran away. Well, guess what? If you didn't do the Dinei Nefashos either, and the owner ran away, you can't do the Dinei Mamanas either. So why are you making it only in if it's flipped, then you have a problem. And if it's not flipped, monetary, yeah. But even if it's not flipped, you can't do it if the owner's not there. The Gemara answers the Kabul Sadi Ubarach. We're talking about that the witnesses were there, and we got all the testimonies for the Dinei Nefashos, and then the owner ran away. So therefore, the ox we have in front of us. So we can make a judgment on the ox. And we can kill the ox. The money, even if we make a judgment on the money that he owes money, but we can't get that money because he doesn't have any property that's sitting here and he's not around. The Gemara says, one second. Saif, Mehechem Ishtalim. If you do, 1 second. So let's say the case where you didn't flip it. You did the dini mamanas first, the monetary case first, and then you do the dini nefashos. So if he doesn't have money and he ran away, so how are you going to get that money? How are you going to get that money? He doesn't have money and the guy's not here.
They rent out the ox.
We said if it's a tam, then they kill the ox and there's no money. If it's a muad, then we say we get the money. But where do you get the money? So the Gemara says, meridia. What we do is we have the ox plow. It means to plow, which means we get the ox to plow. It means we basically rent it out. We get work from it, and therefore we're able to pay. So it says, Tam, why can't you do that for the tam? You can get money from the ox. And actually, the tam, you get money from the ox. That's how you're supposed to do it. It says, and then afterwards you do the judgment. So what's the difference here between the tam and the muad? Amar of Mari, Breder of Kanas, Ridia Aliyah de Marihu. Ridia is not considered that they getting the payment from the ox. Getting the payment from the ox means the actual ox itself. This is getting payment from the owner, and the payments from the owner, when the plowing is payments from the owner, that's considered aliyah. That's not how the tam pays. Okay, so in the end over here, what we're left with is that we have what comes out here is that even though the owner's not there, we can still extract money from him by using the ox, getting the rental prices, the rental fee from the ox to pay for the dini mamanas first, and then for the dini nefashos. But if they would have done dini nefashos first, we have no way of getting money. Yeah, time in the end, the Gemara is clear. It's just in this process, in the Shakla V'Taya, it's like, what would they? Why would it have to be specifically like that? Gemara has a question. Yesh aymed l'nezaken, ein aymed l'nezaken. Whenever we did a capital punishment, we had to estimate: is there actually power in that utensil, that tool, that whatever instrument to actually cause death? What about for damages? Should we look at the item? Someone hits his friend with a pillow, with a snowball. We have to look at the item and say, well, when it comes to death, we say, what? That pillow killed him? It's impossible. The fact the person died was probably a heart attack, but the thing was coming. It can't be because of the pillow. We would exempt him, right? But what about damages? We say, look, because it didn't kill him, but it caused him damage. Now he has some problem. He went deaf. Say, do we estimate that the pillow could cause or doesn't cause, or do we always say that, look, damage is always possible? Do we say that when it comes to death, we do that estimation, the soul won't depart from a pillow, or the soul will depart from such a pillow filled with rocks. But when it comes to damages, then it's anything can cause a damage, right? Damage could be from anything. It could be a little sliver from something and cause something, I don't know, infection. Or maybe, no, we have to do an estimation on everything. That little thing is going to cause, right? We have to estimate everything. Tashima. So come and listen. The Gemara says, why does it say a pit when it talking about damages of the pit? Anything that's in the road that cause, why a pit? It says, well, a pit is usually 10 tvachim, and a pit is able to cause death. That means that in order for someone to be liable for that pit, if the animal dies, so then, right, to pay for the death of the animal that fell into the pit, would have to be 10 tvachim deep. Otherwise, we would say that something else happened and it wasn't really the pit that caused it. If it's less than 10 tvachim, and an ox or a donkey falls in a mace and it dies potter, he's exempt. Say something else happened. But even though it's less than 10 tvachim, he's going to be chayiv. My love, the Gemara understands like this. Mimata l'mayla. When he said, it's less than 10 tvachim. Now, where are you starting to count the less than 10 tvachim? Do you start from 1 or do you start from 10? So the Gemara thinks we're starting from 1. If it's less than 10 tvachim, from 1 tefach till 10 tvachim, Misaleka nizakanika. There's no death, but there is damages. Amalin nizakan koldu. Obviously, when it comes to damages, you don't need any estimation. Even one tefach could already cause a damage. A little gap in a little decrease in the floor. The Gemara says lie. It says no. That's not the way you read that. We're going from the top down. You said if it's 10 or more, it causes death. Under that, we're going down. How much is under that? 9. A little bit less than that. Then you have 9. Then you have damages. But 8 can't even cause damage, maybe. You have to estimate each one. And you have to figure it out. Maybe there's another way of reading that brisa. And there's a specific amount that could cause damage. Otherwise, we say that maybe the damage came from some other thing that we're not aware of. Toshima, so come and listen. We're talking about hitting a slave. Hits a slave on his eye. The sima makes him blind. Apparently, it's not just the knocking out of the eye that the slave goes free, but even if the eye is still intact, but he can't see, he also goes free. And the same is with the ear. It's not just cutting off the ear that the slave goes free, but even if he goes deaf, but in the ear is still intact, he still goes free. So that's what it seems, at least from this. He makes him blind. He hits him on his ear, and he makes him deaf. The slave goes free. He doesn't hit him on the eye, he hits him next to the eye. But now he can't see. He hits him near his ear, on his head, not on his ear, but next to the ear. He can't hear. The slave doesn't go free. My timer. What's the reason? Because you have to estimate. Is that the type of damage, the type of attack that could cause that type of damage? And since it can't cause that type of damage, so then we say that it wasn't from him. You see, we do an umdana even by damages. We do this evaluation, yeah. And then he can't eat. Oh, his teeth falls out. Oh boy. Shalom is asking, let's say he hits him near his mouth and his teeth fall out. Not his dentures. So then, yeah, I don't know. Sounds like it would be the same discussion. But Shmamina Yeshim Dilal Nazakin, we see from this that you have to evaluate persons if it can cause damage. The Gemara says, like, at least Shalom, at least where the Gemara is holding right here, we don't have an answer for that. But now the Gemara says, like, Mishum Damrinan, who the Avas Nafshay. What happened over there is that the reason why he went deaf, the reason why he went blind, was because of the fright when he saw the fist coming towards his ear, coming towards his. He went and his own fright made him go blind, made him go deaf. By the teeth, though, I don't know if he can pull out his teeth like that, just from fright, because he's hitting him on.
The teeth, it's like we see the teeth throughout, but
these are internal things. You can't see it.
He could claim,
right.
I don't see it, to try to get it free. And
exactly.
Exactly. I hit a guy in the back, made a dent about 1/8 of an inch. Called the police over. We had to wade through. And it ended up that he got a doctor to sign that he caused all kinds of problems in his neck and his back, and they asked for millions of dollars. It was still a touch. It couldn't have been.
Right. They'd have to do an umdana.
Yeah. Just made up. It was all phony.
Yeah. So, Shmamina Yeshim Dilan Zakin. No, we said no. Do have a son of Shay. Kedetanya, because we have a brisa. Mavis says Chaveira. If someone scares his friend, he's exempt from this in this court in this world, but he has to pay in heaven. Why? Because it's not the visible damage. You just scared him. Ketzad, it's also a gairam. He only caused him. He didn't do it directly. Ketzad, what's the case? He blows into his ear and he makes him deaf. Pater, he's exempt. If he grabs him and he blows into his ear, then he's going to be chayiv. What's the difference between if he grabs him and if he blows into his ear? Both of them, he's right next to his ear. What's the difference? Let me read the note. Mordechai states that even if he did not shout into his ear, but rather banged on the wall and deafened him, he would be held liable. Since once he held him, it is considered as if the victim is not considered as if the victim frightened himself. Rather, the act of holding him caused him to be frightened, and he was deafened by the subsequent noise due to his anxiety. So, basically, once he touches him, everything changes.
More direct.
Right, it's considered more direct. Yeah, there's a like a question on this. Because although you can't see the sound waves, but the sound wave exists. I mean, someone can measure it with an instrument. You can measure it, so it is measurable. Today it's measurable. Those days it wasn't measurable. So you're saying like it is direct. It's not direct. We're saying anything that you can't measure, that they couldn't measure back then, was considered indirect.
Also, he's holding him like the person can't move like away from the sound.
Right. Right. No, but besides for the holding and not holding, besides for that difference, why should he really be putter anyway? Loud noise causes deafness. Why the sound waves, whatever it can cause deafness. It's not indirect; it's direct. Yeah.
They couldn't hear well.
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't have hearing protection. They were on airplanes the whole time.
Right. Yeah, these guys that were in the on the ships and in the army and could use these like cannons or whatever, these whatever they had, put it in, and they would step back and the thing would, so they couldn't hear. Years later, they couldn't hear anything.
Where was he in aeronautics school? When I was in high school. Learn how to fly a plane or fix a plane?
Okay, so Kate said, we said, okay, now we're up to Tashma. The 5 things that a person has to pay for, you have to do it right away. You have to pay right away. They do an evaluation and then he pays right away. In other words, the doctor bills don't get paid out over the 6 months or over the year. You evaluate how much doctor bills are going to be, and you have to pay that immediately up. Right at the front. So repay b'shevis, how do you evaluate? Well, the doctor bills until how much it's going to cost until he gets healed, and how much lost work he's going to be off until he can go back to work, and he has to pay for all of that. Even up front, that has to be paid. Let's say they made evaluation, but he continued to get worse. He only has to pay for the original evaluation. Let's say the opposite. He got better right away. Right. What do you know? So nice like Kamma Daf, he makes the extra money. He has to keep the extra money. Shema Mina, we see Yeshem Zakin. We see that you do an evaluation for damages. The Gemara says, no, you're mixing things up a bit. This is unbelievable how the Gemara does this. So that's not the evaluation we're talking about. L'meimad gavra kama liktzar miha maka kama lay miktzar like kami ba'ilan. How do they translate the word miktzar? How sick he's going to be. To estimate how long he's going to be sick, that wasn't our question. The vadayam dina. That we know that we evaluate. Kikami ba'ilan, our question was l'meimad chefza, to evaluate the instrument. Will it cause such a damage or not? The Gemara just mixed in 2 different concepts and said, hey, you see, look at that. Gemara says, no, you're mixing barsht mitzvah. Some expression. You can't mix something. Okay. In English, you say apples and oranges.
What do they say in Yiddish?
I forget. Barsht mit something.
Just to back up from 1 minute when you said the guys with the can.
Yeah.
So first of all, you look at in the airport, and you see the guys who working by the
Yeah, they have
planes
those
always
big
have,
heads,
right,
yeah.
so, and on aircraft carriers, anytime by planes, I mean, so nowadays we know about that. The medical term is barotrauma.
Barrow.
Barotrauma for that. And my mother, she rest in peace, was like 99% deaf when she was like, just past 90. She was getting, I think it went up with the age. And she attributed her deafness, which was progressive, to hearing the bombs, to the Holocaust. She said that. And,
Was she in England? Where was she?
No, she was in Poland.
In Poland. Oh.
Also, people who would hear loud music. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that is a very well known,
Right.
non-visible trauma.
Right. So because it's non-visible trauma, the Torah views it as like indirect. But I'm questioning that. Would we today consider it indirect? Because today we probably have instruments that could measure the thing, and we would consider. Anyway, okay. Like today, have a shaila today. When it comes to something being bottled, right? You drop it in, it becomes something substance in another substance. You say it's bottled. Now it's only bottled because you're not able to recognize it anymore. But let's say you are able to recognize it because you can take it to a lab and you could recognize it. Should we say that there's a concept of bittul today? When it comes to taste, that could be different. When it comes to taste, that could be different because you go by the taste of whatever taste there is. Basar b'chalav, it has to be derech bishul, something that would give it taste and all of that. But other types of bittul, something I don't know exactly. But do we say that something that doesn't have to do with taste, that's something that's not bottled in 1,000 or something, well, that's not bottled, it's not bottled anyway. Let's say Reb Moshe, Sefer Torah. There's a psul in the Sefer Torah, but you can't find the psul. Someone saw it once and now we can't find it. Can you say that, look, it's bottled? And just say that. No, I saw in the Sefer, I saw a Sefer writing about this. Or we say, 1 second, you throw it through a computer, the computer will catch it. You can't say it's bottled. Something like that. But do we say that the laboratory today is going to change? Okay. Here's an example. Chametz before Pesach is bottled, right? And Pesach, it's not bottled. Chametz before Pesach. Maybe we should say, maybe the halacha switches. It's not a perfect thing. Okay. Tashima. Shimon Atimani ma egraf miyuchad shemasal leidol leidem afkom yuchad shemasal leidol leidem. So Shimon Atimani said that you have to look at the fist. Is it in the fist comes to court, and just like it's the fist is given over to the congregation and to the witnesses, so also any instrument has to be able to be examined by the congregation and by the witnesses. We see from Shimon Atimani that you do have to estimate, can it cause damage or not? Let me do one more thing, and then we'll stop. Amar Mar, Master Torah, one of the things we mentioned, if he is evaluated and then he gets better very quickly, he still gets all the money, even though he doesn't need that for his doctor bills. Messiah Leila Rava, it's a proof to Rava, if they evaluated someone that is going to be out of work for a whole day, and he got healed, the palga diyama halfway through, the kavod of vidita, and he's doing his work. The halach is yavinale the kuliyama. We give him his whole day off, give him the payment for the whole day. Min shemayahu derachmele. Really, that's the damage that he caused him. Why did he get better? Oh, that's heaven making him better. But the damage that he caused him was still a full day's damage. The person still has to pay all of that. Okay, let's leave it over here. Have a good Shabbos.
Hey, thank you. Can I say hi to Shalom?
Yeah.
You got a shout out.